Radiation levels, as I've said, are rising at the Fukushima nuclear plant after a cooling system there failed following the earthquake. Japan's nuclear safety agency says that radioactive vapor may be released to reduce the pressure. They're also saying it poses no immediate danger to the public. Alarmingly, though, the situation does bear striking similarity to the build-up ahead of the worst nuclear disaster in history at Chernobyl. Our correspondent Alexei Rozhevsky has more from the Ukrainian capital, Kiev.
They initially may seem as very similar incidents, but in reality they are pretty much different. First of all, because what is now happening in Japan is indeed an aftermath of a natural disaster, the earthquake. What happened in Chernobyl a quarter of a century ago was 100% man-made disaster, and this is of course the essential difference. The other difference is the fact that the reactor in Japan is 100 times more powerful than the one in Chernobyl, and in fact the the two power plants in the Fukushima region produced the world's biggest joint amount of energy, and this means of course that this reactor, which is under threat now, is far more powerful than the one in the fourth block of the Chernobyl nuclear power station, which exploded 25 years ago. Also, one of the differences is that the security system in Japan at the power station is promising that should any nuclear incident occur at the station, a certain dome will cover the nuclear power station, preventing any leaks into the atmosphere, something which is of course missing in the Soviet era at the Chernobyl station, and that's why the whole continent basically suffered great consequences. But at the same time, we also heard that basically the automated security systems went on after the earthquake at most of the power stations across Japan, except for Fukushima, and nobody knows whether this will be the case, whether the automated security system will work should any nuclear incident occur. The worst case scenario is much more grave than what happened after the Chernobyl fallout. According to several experts I've managed to have a word with already here in Ukraine, and just read some interviews on the internet as well, basically because, as I've mentioned earlier, the power station in Japan is far more powerful than the one in Chernobyl. This could lead to a serious contamination, to a serious emission of radiation should any accident, should any explosion happen at the Fukushima nuclear power station. This, according to some experts from the Russian Academy of Sciences, mean that the whole of the Russian Far East, some part of China, and to a large extent the Korean Peninsula may be affected by the possible radiation emission from this reactor in Japan. So far as we've heard, the government is saying that the situation is under control, and also we've heard assurances from the American scientists who are saying that right now the wind is blowing westward from Japan, so should any accident happen, then all of the radioactive material would probably find itself in the middle of Pacific, not in the Russian mainland or China or Korea or anywhere else. But indeed the wind can change any minute, and obviously if something happens at the station, this could be far 10 times more serious than what happened after Chernobyl.